Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of We Got Next. I'm Rickey Hampton with the big fella, former Milwaukee Bucks center, Paul Mokeski, coming to you on a Monday after the Super Bowl. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope your favorite team won, and clearly most favorite team won again because he's rocking his Kansas City Chiefs championship cap back to back for the Chiefs. Uh, 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 Overtime victory. Uh, Mahomes showed his greatness once again. And Mo, you competed against a great athlete in your day in Michael Jordan. When you think about the impact Michael had on games and the impact that Patrick has, do you see any similarities with the two? Even though it's a different sport, of course.
Yeah, I see similarities in competitiveness, skill level, athleticism, drive, and leadership. All those qualities, that make a great player. However, basketball is totally different than football. I mean, basketball, there's five guys out there playing, and one player can really dictate and make a huge difference. In football, you could be the greatest quarterback in the world and have a crappy offensive line, and you look like crap.
Yeah.
Or receivers dropping passes, or anything can happen because there's 11 guys on your team. But as far as leadership, players follow him, talent level, doesn't get shook under pressure. Nothing really phases him. He's not afraid to have the ball in his hands when it matters most. And those are traits of great athletes, whether it's Mahomes in football or MJ or Bird or Magic in basketball or some pitchers in baseball or Tiger Woods in golf. It's all that they I don't you can't really describe. It's called it. They have it, whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah. And I watching that game last night, of course, won by Kansas City 25-22 in overtime. Hey, Paul, can when San Francisco kicked that field goal uh, to go up by 3 points, I'm like, you just lost the game because you just gave this guy the ball with a chance to beat you, and he's got 4 downs to do it. So you're giving him an extra down. He's going to at least tie that thing up. And I was not surprised to see them move the ball down the field and score. And I'm thinking, Mo, for as much as we talk about the importance of defense in football, uh, man, the offenses today, at some point in time, they're going to move the ball on even the best defenses. And when you got a guy like Patrick back there, that's especially so.
Yeah, but again, really, defense dictated this game all through the game. 0-0 after the first quarter. I think there's only three, including overtime, only three touchdowns, right? All the rest were field goals. So defense dictated this game. But the surprising thing in overtime, and I was watching a game in a suite in a casino here in Vegas with some friends and stuff. Actually, we looked out the window, you could see the stadium and the strip. It's pretty crazy. But I was livid. I was happy. I'm like, why is San Francisco taking the ball in overtime? That makes no sense. That's the worst strategy you can have. And then after the game, players, and you know what I say about players on the San Francisco, well, we didn't know the rules. We really? You're in the Super Bowl. You're a professional athlete. You don't know the rules?
I don't think
And
the coach did, Mo.
uh, the coach did know the rule, and he said he did that because of the thought of three possessions. So, we kick a field goal, they kick a field goal. Now we have the ball, and any score wins the game on the third possession. That's what he was thinking. But that's the wrong thinking. And when you talk about the Chiefs and Andy Reid, he said, "Yeah, we've gone through that scenario many times." And when I talked to my analytical people, and we talked about this situation, they said analytically, you should always uh, give the get the give the possession, kick the ball off. and have the last possession. Because why? Because then you have decisions, right? If
You
they
know what you need to do.
if they kick a field goal, you know you need to kick a field goal to tie it, or if you score a touchdown, you get to win, and you have 4 downs to do it because you know you have to score.
Yeah.
And even if they score a touchdown, you go down, you know you have 4 downs, you got to score a touchdown, you score a touchdown, you have another decision. You could go for 2 and try to win the game, which I think from what they say, the Chiefs were going to do
Yeah.
that and end
Yeah.
it. So you took all the decisions away from yourself by kicking the ball and gave it all to the Chiefs with a quarterback like Mahomes. Are you kidding me? I
That,
was like,
that is
it boggled my mind. I'm
that
like,
is perfectly said, Mo. That's the end of the story right there. I mean,
I
you
mean,
just summed it up.
I don't know why, and it was, first half boring as hell. Golly, it was so boring. Then the second half, it got back and forth, and it was exciting. And thank goodness it was close, not a blowout. But then the overtime, and it was a little exciting. But that decision was mind-boggling to me as a coach. You want to keep the power of decisions on your side and the pressure of the game on your side. And that's like we talk about this all the time. And Kansas won a basketball game Saturday at home, and they lucked out. And they won by 3. And the reason they say they lucked out, they missed some free throws, they did some stuff. But at the end, they were up by 3. The other team has the ball with 5 seconds left, and they don't foul him, and he gets off a wide open 3, and it just misses. And the thought process of that is, if you foul him, then he's got to go to the free throw line. He's got to make the first free throw. Then he's got to miss the second free throw. Then they got to get the rebound back. Then after the rebound, they got to make another shot. They have to do 4 things right to tie up the game. And if they make a wild 3 and they're wide open, the game's tied up. One thing they got to do right, and that's
And Mo, that if it's 3 seconds and under, you should foul, right?
5.
5 and under, you should foul. Steve, what's up, Steve? And what's up to everybody out there? Hello, especially to our new viewers watching us at Sports Fluid. I'm Rickey Hampton, Paul Mokeski, former Milwaukee Bucks legend. Mo, Steve says the 49ers want to rest their defense.
Yes. How did that go for you? I mean, no, I mean, a couple things that, like, at one point when the Niners were driving at the end there, and the Chiefs had 3 timeouts left, and they were sucking wind, Steve. Chiefs, and I was saying to the crowd in the thing, the Chiefs need to call a timeout, let their defense catch a blow, and then play. But you don't give the defense a blow. They're already getting a blow right now. You got the coin flip and all that. You don't give them a blow when the game's on the line. I mean, it's like, that doesn't work your strategy because your defense, gets a little blow. I can see what you're talking about, Steve, but wrong time and wrong analytical and wrong odds. Las Vegas, I live in Las Vegas. It's about the odds, baby. Las Vegas is playing the odds.
What was the line before the game?
As far as
was it the Niners were favored
by 1.5, which means pretty much
really
you bet the money line even. So and the over under was 47, and I think it at 47 the Chiefs didn't kick the field goal. Didn't kick the point after the touchdown, and it was at 47.
Point after,
it was at 47.
Yeah.
So, but before the game, you could get it at 46. So, but even no overtime. But I'm telling you, these people that make odds and do it, they know what they're talking about. It's unbelievable how they get it right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I tell you, that's 3. That's a dynasty. 3 in 5 years, and
4. I think 3 and 4. I think, right?
3 is it 4? And Mahomes has just been terrific. I didn't see this when he was coming out of he played at Texas Tech, didn't he? Yeah, I think he played at Texas Tech. And people say everybody knew he was a talented quarterback. but nobody saw this, and clearly he fell into a guy with Andy Reid and some of the coaching he's gotten to help him develop those skills. You know, he spent his first year sitting behind the veteran quarterback. His name escapes me now.
Yeah, I
Just a
can't
real
remember.
pro, and learn how to be a pro his first year, and then they just cut him loose the second year. And the only time he hadn't won that Super Bowl is when his offensive line just could not protect him against the Patriots a couple of years ago.
And he had a messed up ankle too.
Yeah. And the 49ers got back, yeah, Alex Smith. Alex Smith, Steve, thank you.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh and the Patriots and the 49ers got after them pretty good in that first half. And they were able to survive. It was pretty sloppy game starting, Mo. Uh,
yeah. It was 0-0. It was a
yeah,
lot of fun.
turnovers.
I was talking to people who has the over under on punts, and they're gonna you can bet on anything. Like they're the over under on 1.5 measurements for a first down. There was none, by the way, but but I mean, like, the first quarter was terrible. Even the second quarter, which the Niners owned, till the Chiefs got a field goal out of it, but it wasn't an exciting game, and but you look at well, you're talking about quarterbacks, right? Mahomes, nobody really. What about Purdy? He wasn't even drafted. I
Right,
mean,
right.
no, he
The
was
last
drafted
guy
last. He was the last guy drafted, and you look at
drafted.
his. He was 23 for 38, 255 yards, a TD, and no interceptions. Pretty darn good
Yeah,
game,
yeah.
you
He,
know.
he, he is excellent. He fits their scheme. Hey,
You know,
hey, Mo. You are actually in Vegas, and Vegas is always cooking. It's always hopping. Could you tell it was extra
yeah.
when you were driving around the city
Yeah, you
over
see
the weekend?
signs everywhere. I mean, on the way to our party, not on the strip for sure, we saw bars and restaurants around that are usually, aren't that crowded, packed and, with parties going on outside. And yeah, there's definitely a feel. People were in town. The bad thing is if you tried to fly out today at the airport, most people miss their flights unless you're at the airport 3 hours before. It was a madhouse. But
Yeah.
you know, you could tell. The excitement was there. I think the halftime show and everyone you talked to that came into town loved it. I mean, they're saying, "Why don't we do it here every year?" I don't think that's going to happen, but
Man, y'all can't have everything, man. Y'all just getting everything out there.
well, if you that's what that they have enough hotel rooms, enough restaurants, enough, they've done everything. They haven't done a Final Four yet, but that's going to happen. But they're an entertain. Concerts come in.
Yeah.
YouTube and all these people. So it's nothing new to them. This was on a really grand scale. I mean, Steve. No, I didn't see any famous people, but the private jet that they extended here for the Formula One race was full. So people were flying in, dropping off the people, and then having to take off and go park their private jet in Phoenix or somewhere else. That's how crazy it was.
Wow. Yeah. Well, a great weekend. And there were some reports that Andy Reid might be retiring. He cleared that up very quickly.
Yeah.
He will be back. There were a couple of Taylor Swift sightings.
Actually, there was 10. We counted them because the over/under was 8.
Oh, you could get a bet on how many times she was on the screen.
You could get a bet on how many times she was on the screen. The first time she's on the screen, who's sitting next to her. You could bet on the length of the national anthem. You could bet on anything here. Come on, man.
God, that is
I took a bet, 30-1 bet that Pachenko was a chance of being MVP, and the dude fumbled and messed up my whole thing.
and you know what, Paul, you mentioned something, and you are right. It takes everybody. As great as Mahomes is and Kelsey. They got to cooking in that second half. You know, hats off to the Kansas City defense that
Yeah.
that stepped up.
I mean, they're is it Johnson or Jones? Who's their Who's the defensive
Chris
lineman?
Jones, Chris Jones,
Chris Jones, wide open receiver, and he put enough pressure on Purdy that he couldn't hit him twice.
yeah,
Without
yeah,
that, they don't win. I mean,
yeah,
but we always talk we always talk about like the Chiefs were not the Chiefs in the first half. They were frustrated. They were yelling. Kelsey almost knocked over the head coach.
yeah.
Poor guy. If I was, bad hip, bad knee, even in the second half with one of the receivers yelling at Mahomes, they were frustrated and they
Yeah,
weren't
right.
themselves.
And,
Yeah,
and
and
and I love that told me a lot about Mahomes. And you could only, we don't know what was said, but you can kind of infer. Mahomes is like, dude, I got this. You got to do your damn job. And when I do throw it to you, you make sure you catch it. Because he did miss him. He missed him on the play according to the replay.
yeah,
It's
you
like,
saw it. And guess who he's throwing to? His favorite guy, Kelsey.
yeah,
So if I'm the receiver, I got a grip, right? Why the hell do you keep throwing to your buddy when I'm wide open? I'm wide open. Throw to me once in a while. So
He said, I got you, dude. I know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, but
I've
but
done
that
this.
happens. That happens in pressure. But
Yeah.
I'm
And
gonna
Paul, those things, man, in the heat of a game, like Reed and Kelsey, they bumped and just the emotions of the game. That's nothing to, because it's almost like the media. Oh, they were arguing on the sidelines, yelling at each other. That's nothing to the athlete and the participants.
as long as it doesn't get personal, right? I mean, you just, but I've heard some confrontations that get personal, and you say something you shouldn't say, and now we got a problem. But if it's like frustrated like that, I mean, Kelsey was telling them that there's a big third down play. I need to be in the game. I need to be in the game. I could score that. So that happens. It goes back and forth, and actually, I've seen during the season, Reed will go by Kelsey sometimes in a game and just kind of give him a little shot just
Yeah.
because. So they kind of have that relationship. But
Yeah.
no,
And
but
those things are earned too.
yeah, you go through the trenches, and you got more respect and you got a little more leeway. If
Yeah, yeah. Some rookie off the practice squad.
no, yeah, he's gonna get cut. You won't come out at halftime. You're gonna just stay in the locker. We got a flight for you. Here you go. Like I used to say, aisle or window. What do you want? What do you want on your flight home? Aisle or window? But I mean, but everything matters in these games. Like I told you, like the Lions. Part of the way the Lions aren't in the Super Bowl is because a ball hit the guy's face mask and bounced up right into the guy's arms.
My
I mean,
bad. Oh, that was my bad.
no, but it's just a fluke. When does that happen? It's a fluke. It hit the guy's face mask. Like
Yeah.
last night, the punt went off his guy's foot. The
Right.
punt went off his foot. And he tried to recover it and he couldn't get it.
Yeah, because that's a great point, Mo. Because McDonald, people were wondering why are you trying to fill this thing. Well, he saw what happened.
Yeah,
He was trying to make a play. He just couldn't.
no, he saw how many times does a punt hit the guy's foot? Hardly ever. So that's why I didn't bet on the game. I just, it's crazy. Here, let me throw out another theory to you also. So we all know the halftime show at Super Bowl, right? It's a big deal, right? Usher comes out, and he's got 300 people out there, and they bring a stage in, and they're doing dance and everything. That thing, the Super Bowl halftime. Usually, I think a halftime in basketball is 15. I think in football it might be 20, right? At halftime.
I think it's 12 minutes.
12.
NFL.
Well, yeah. So that was a half hour.
Yeah.
Twice as much.
Yeah.
That affects you. When you're playing at that level in that intensity for 2 quarters, then you go in the locker room and you're used to having 12 minutes. Boom, 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 boom. Let's get some rest, get fluid. Okay, let's get out. Now you're just sitting there. There's not much to say. Coaches can't, they do a little adjustment. There's not, you're just sitting there. You're waiting. And if you haven't done it before, the Niners have done it before. I'll give it to that, but it's been a few years. The Chiefs did it. The Chiefs are used
Last
to
year.
that.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs have come back from behind every second half. So that adds to it. So, I mean, you look at the tale of two halves, right? 10-3 in the first half for the Niners, and 16-3 for the Chiefs in the second half. Not talking about overtime. It matters. All these things matter, and it's psychological. I was upset. I was concerned before the game because I have a friend who's a reporter and went to the interviews, and he said, "You know what? Mahomes doesn't look right. He looks different. He he's usually pretty laid back and the joker. So he looks like not scared, but kind of up. Something's not right." Well, guess what? His dad got arrested this weekend, and he had to bail him out of jail. So that matters. He's human, and I gotta believe it affected him in the first half. And then he shook it off in the second half. But everything matters, psychologically and physically.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Mo. I was just reading today. Jimmy Butler's taking some time off for the Heat. He had a death in the family. Steve Kerr is not coaching tonight because he's going to Malevic's Dejan
Funeral.
Malevic's funeral in Belgrade. I mean, you guys are real life people with real life issues that come into play.
Yeah, you got family, you got kids at home, you got wives and girlfriends or family members, or a funeral, someone passes away. All that affects people. People see it as athletes on TV. Oh, you make a lot of money, you should just perform. Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, all kinds of different stuff happens. I mean, and mentally it affects you, especially at that level. I mean, you could feel this game, right? All game, especially in the second half, one mess up and you're going to lose the Super Bowl. One
Yeah.
mess up, you lose the Super Bowl. How much pressure is that on everybody? I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the last thing is, what's the most important ability in sports?
Availability.
Absolutely. Guess who wasn't available for the Niners? Kittle's one of the best tight ends. 2 receptions, 4 yards. He got hurt, so he's not available.
And how about the linebacker that gets was it Hargrave? The Chiefs linebacker that hurts himself running on the field in his
No, that's a Niners line.
the Niners linebacker gets hurt running onto the field to go back into the game. I don't think I've ever seen that.
I've seen.
I gotta make sure I got his name right.
I've seen guys get hurt in layup line before a game. I saw Sam Bowie break his leg in a layup line before the game. So stuff like that happens. I mean, I thought he tore his ACL when I looked at it, but I guess he popped his Achilles. But either way, you know what someone else said today? You know what? It's really weird, right? He's going on the field and how long do you think it would have lasted if he was playing?
Yeah.
And making the move? He probably would have popped it anyway. But yeah, it's freaky to see that.
Drake Greenlaw.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, it was just sad.
Yeah, because that's these guys are coming back early now, but he heard at the worst possible time because now all that window is short.
Yeah, but just think, okay, so he knows he did something, right? He could tell. And then so how do you think he feels? I'm missing the Super Bowl. How do you think his family feels that are probably in the stands? How do you think his family and friends feel that are watching on TV? It's terrible. That's another thing about being human,
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, yeah, it's done. Hey, what your your thoughts on the criticism Shanahan is getting now, the 49ers coach?
He should call the Lions coach. I mean, come on, man. Now, I'm telling that decision blew my mind. That why did he do that? Um, in in overtime. I don't know. Why did the Ravens not run more? Why did the Lions go on fourth down? Come on, everybody. I mean, these decisions are made, and basketball is more fluid, and guys are making last second plays and setups and blah blah blah. But most of the game is just reaction, and you're reacting and doing stuff. In football, you got so much strategy, down situations, yardage situations, sub situations, running, passing, zone, man, all these things. So, everything's easy to second guess.
And you only get X amount of possessions. How many possessions in a basketball game? You know,
Anywhere from 85 to 120 now, but
yeah,
yeah.
you might get what 10 or 12 possessions a game. So they're all very critical. They're two very different games, but I like what you hit on early about some of the traits that translate no matter what the sport. When you talk about great individual players like Mahomes and,
I mean,
and Jordan.
just think if this thing goes a little different, right, and the Niners win, you know who the MVP is? It's Jennings. He
Juwan
passed
Jennings.
He
Yes.
passed for a touchdown
Yeah.
and ran for a touchdown, first time ever in the Super Bowl. So
Yeah.
if they
And made
win,
some other key catches.
yeah. So if things are changed and something else happens, guess what? He's going to Disney World,
Yeah.
not home. But you look at this game like penalties. You're looking at both teams had 6 penalties. One KC for 55 yards and San Francisco for 40. Kansas City lost 1 fumble. San Francisco lost 2. San Francisco got an interception. Uh, Kansas City did not. Time of possession: Kansas City 36 minutes. San Francisco 38.
Wow.
That's how close.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's how close it was.
and that was probably the last 2 minutes of the game, or
Yeah.
last minute of the game. So yeah, so it's so close, and at that level, I would kept thinking, man, someone's going to be the winner, and someone's going to be the hero, and someone's going to be the goat, and those, but it was like, damn, if we won't get this third down, we're gonna, damn, if we don't, it's like all game, so it's back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing about it, you get that chance. You may not get that chance again because everybody's
Mhm.
always gunning for you.
Yeah, I mean,
You-
how about a blocked point after
Oh
touchdown?
God.
How about that? I
That's a
think,
Detroit kid, Moody,
yeah, and
kicked at the University of Michigan.
he had just hit a 55-yarder, right? He just
Yeah.
set the
Yeah.
record, and the Chiefs kicker beat it. But I mean, I think the odds on that in Vegas were like 800 to 1.
That somebody would block a punt,
Yeah,
a
no,
field
block
goal.
an extra point, not a field goal, extra point. It never happens.
Wow.
People miss
Wow.
them, but yeah, but that's sports, you
Yeah.
know.
Chiefs had a Chiefs had a 4th and 1 and could have got stopped. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of big plays in that game, man.
And then they ran corn dog at the end and won the game. Corn dog. That's the name of that play.
And on that 4th and 1, I think they ran Mahomes on a keeper. He faked it into the line and ran a keeper for about 20 yards on that play. So just a lot of big plays.
Mahomes ran it twice in that last drive. You know,
Yeah.
he got a first down and then he got close to the touchdown so they could score it. Yeah, great game. Chiefs,
Yeah.
Chiefs, Chiefs.
Well, Mo, let's get to the association, man. had the big trade deadline. Hey, just your general thoughts on on what went down at the trade deadline. Was it more movement than you thought, or was it about par for the course?
Yeah, last year what didn't Harden get somebody big got traded? I don't know, whatever. There's some big trades. This was more small
Harden
trade.
did get traded last year. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a big trade and all that stuff. But in my opinion, a little bit here, a little bit there. But the team that made the most moves and helped themselves the best was the New York Knicks.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, uh, Anawabi they got a few days before, and then they picked up Bogdanovich and Alex Burks, who, by the way, is averaging 22 points a game. I mean,
Yeah.
they made themselves legitimate East uh, champion runners. They could give the Celtics and the Bucks and the Cavs and whoever else you want to say a run for their money with that trades they moved. And
That,
all of them fit, and they didn't have to give up a lot.
they and while you say that, Mo, I think I know why you're going to say it. They are actually leading the NBA in defense. Uh, and they're 33-20 on the year, 7-3 in their last 10. Although they've lost two straight. Why do you think they could really be a serious contender?
Because they play defense and they're physical and they have talent and they have talented guards and now they have shooters. Bogdanovich is a great shooter. The thing that hurts them is size. They have a Harkenstein off the bench, who's a 7-footer. But other than that, Randall plays center a lot of times. So, if you're looking at like uh, Boston, they have, Tatum, then they have Porzingis, then they have Horford. They got size. Bucks have Middleton at 6'8", Giannis, Lopez, Portis. So, you're going to have to come up against some size. Even the Cavs, who are on a roll right now, right? I think they've won 17 out of 18 or something crazy like that, and jutted up to what they're second place now.
35 and 16, yeah.
Yeah. So they're in second place by 2 games right now, but they have Mobley at 7 foot and Allen at 7 foot starters, so they have size. So what Boston is lacking is size, but they have physicality and a defensive toughness mentality that their coach gives them. That's any 7 game.
You mean the Knicks? You mean the
I
Knicks,
mean the
right?
Knicks, yeah, the Knicks. You asked me about the Knicks, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So the Knicks they don't have the size necessarily, but they got the physicality, the defensive mind, and they play tough basketball. And you're in a 7-game series that wears teams down, that are relying on finesse. And offense wins games. Defense doesn't necessarily win championships, but it helps a lot. I mean, when the Warriors were winning those championships, they were 1 and 2 in offense, but they're also 4 or 5 in defense.
Yeah,
So
they were really good on the defensive end. And actually, the Bucks are playing tonight and playing pretty well. They were up 16 on the Nuggets at halftime. I got 75-57. And the Nuggets just hadn't been quite the same this year. And I think it's because they lost a couple of key guys off that team, Mo.
yeah, and also the Nuggets are not a deep team, and they got away with it last year. But, because they have Murray and they have Joker, great players, but they're not a deep team. They weren't last year, and they're less deep now. So one of their main guys, Aaron Gordon, has been out for a few weeks because he got bit in the face by a dog. So he had stitches. I think he's back playing, but he's missed. So, if you're not that deep, I mean, you're looking at Murray, Caldwell Pope, Porter Jr., Joker, and Aaron Gordon. Oh, I like that. But now you're talking about your other guys are Brown, Reggie Jackson, Watson, DeAndre Jordan, who's 80 years old. That's
Yeah.
not deep. So when you lose one of their important players like Aaron Gordon, you're going to take a dip.
Yeah, yeah. They are currently sitting at I think they're 35 and 16 and 17, about to go 35 and 18 tonight. And the Lakers are playing better, Mo. And they signed Spencer Dinwiddie yesterday. I think he's going to try to play tomorrow. The Lakers are currently 28 and 26
They're in ninth
in the
spot.
ninth spot. And D'Angelo Russell has started playing better for them.
Yeah, when he was on the trading block and he started playing better. But the problem with the West is wild west. So you have Minnesota that's in first place in front of the Clippers, OKC, and Denver by a total of a half a game. So
Right.
really, it's a tie, right? That's a four-way tie. And then you have the other group that are the Suns, New Orleans, Sacramento, Dallas, Lakers, and Golden State are all 5.5 to 10 games out of first place. So you have like two groups there, but and the games start. I mean, the All-Star game is next week, I think, and you only got less than 30 games left. So, to make up 5 or 6 games on teams that are good is hard to do, right? And that's where you think of double games. Double games are when you're playing teams that are ahead of you. So if you get a win, you gain 2 games on them, right? You get a win and you give them a loss. So that's a 2-game swing right there. So, but you're looking at, the problem with the Lakers is they're in ninth spot, but I don't even know if they care because they got to the West Finals last year in the play-in anyway, right?
Yeah.
As long as they're healthy. And you look at the rosters in the West, they're a top 3 roster in the West overall. So, you know, to them, it's not, they're 8 games out of, fourth, third, or second. I don't think they can catch that. But they're only 3 games, 2.5 behind Dallas and Sacramento and those. But the problem is a lot of those teams are good. So, the West is just like it was last year, the Wild West. And
Yeah.
the Lakers have the roster, they have LeBron and AD, and they have the experience to beat anybody in the West. Anybody, in my opinion.
Yeah. Golden State's playing better, 7-3 in their last 10. They've won 4 straight, knocked off Phoenix the other night. Getting Draymond Green back is good for them. He makes them better, Paul.
He makes Wiggins better, and he makes Kuminga better because he can pass. And he's one of the only guys in the league at 6'8", I guess 6'9" maybe, that can play center. You know, and he passes and he plays defense. And the one thing I've noticed a little bit is he's looking to score more. I've seen him take it to the basket to score rather than kick it out, and that's important. But yeah, he makes all those guys better, and that's what they need. Curry's going to be Curry. It's not a question. He's going to make those other guys better. Now Clay's got to pick it up a little bit. Then they got something cooking. They still don't have the size though. They just don't have
Yeah.
size.
That I totally agree. That's going to be a problem. I got a chance to watch the Clippers the other night rally from 13 down to beat my beloved Pistons. Man, they are really good, Mo. And Westbrook is coming off the bench, and he's effective. At least the other night he was when he comes in with that second unit.
I mean, the Clippers, they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They're in second place now. They came out of they're like a few weeks ago they were in the 8th spot, 7th spot, and you blink an eye, and now they're in the 2nd spot, which that's kind of where they want to be. But really, in the West, it doesn't matter as much. But like if we're talking about rosters, if you're looking at a roster and strength and experience and offense and defense, the Clippers are there with anybody. They have been for a few years now, but some chemistry and also injuries have kept them out of making any kind of run. And now things are starting to click and they're all healthy. You're looking at, I mean, look at, you got uh, James Harden, Kawhi, Paul George. They picked up Norman Powell from Mavericks,
Yeah.
who's averaging 13 and 3, and he's athletic. You got Zubac, who's a serviceable big at 7 foot. He's averaging 12 points and 9, almost 10 rebounds. Then you got Westbrook. You got Plumlee, who's a 7-footer who can bang in the middle. Terrence Mann, Daniel Thias, who played for the Celtics for a long time. And they picked up PJ Tucker, also a defensive guy, physical guy. I mean, that's a team not really happy to go against in a 7-game series at all.
And Mo, you know what's funny? I know we've talked on this show probably 2 or 3 years ago about, hey, why don't you bring Westbrook off the bench? That's what they're doing. He's averaging 23 minutes a game. He's averaging 11 points, shooting 47% from the field, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists.
He's playing. Guess what? He always knew his role. Now he's accepting his role. Like sometimes you gotta say, listen, you're gonna come off the bench, and guess what? You're not gonna be playing against Murray from Denver. You're gonna be playing against Brown. There you go. Good luck. I mean, as a coach, I loved guys that come off the bench like that, because they're gonna be better than any of the guys off their bench, and now you're gonna be able to do what you want to do because you're playing with, our backup guys who, and that's why it's funny because in practice, a lot of times, before the season gets together and you're playing a training camp, in practice, a lot of times the second team beats the first team a lot, not because of talent, but because they have maybe their chemistry fits better and they're more competitive. Maybe they play harder. So this is a great opportunity. But I don't know. If you're looking at rosters in the West, the Clippers, the Lakers have the best rosters. I mean, you're looking at the Lakers with D'Angelo Russell, LeBron, AD, Austin Reeves, Hachimura, Christian Wood, Gabe Vincent if he gets healthy, Vanderbilt, the defensive guy, Cam Reddish. It's a good roster.
And they just got Dinwiddie.
Yeah, and they're going to pick up Dinwiddie right in there. I mean, they have size. They can score. They got LeBron and AD, 25, 7 and 8, 25, 12 and 4, pretty good, right? And Minnesota, their roster is good up front, but then they don't have a bench really. Denver is the same way, except you got Murray and Joker that puts a twist on that. The Phoenix Suns, their starting 5 or 6 guys love them, right? You got KD, Booker, Beal if he's healthy, Grayson Allen, and Nurkic, a nice serviceable center, and Eric Gordon coming off the bench. Besides that, you don't have anybody else.
Hey, Steve brings up an interesting point. You and I were talking about it off the air. Draymond Green is back, and for sure he's helping. He's made an impact with the Warriors since he's gotten back. They played better. But Steve is saying he's going to get suspended again. And Nurkic would agree with him, the center for the Phoenix Suns. After the game the other night against Phoenix, where Steph hit the game-winning 3, you could hear Draymond talking stuff, a lot of profanities, talking to Nurkic. Get the F out of here, you blankety blank. And Devin Booker's telling me, sit down. He's calling his former teammate Kevin Durant names. After the game, Nurkic is saying, I used to say he deserved a second chance, but he doesn't deserve a second chance. It's only a matter of time. He said, this is Nurkic. It's sad. He didn't learn anything. Just a matter of time. He's going to knock somebody else again. So I take back everything I said about him getting a second chance. He doesn't deserve a chance.
Well, Nurkic got a lot of things right that he'll probably get suspended again. You're right, Steve. He's going to do something silly. But guess what, Nurkic? You're totally wrong. You didn't get a second chance. This is like his 8th, 9th, or 10th chance. Come on, man. He got a second chance. Are you kidding me? He got a second chance like 10 years ago when he was kicking people in the hoo-haws. Remember that? Remember that? And then he got suspended. Come on, man. Nurkic, if you're going to say something, have some knowledge, Don't say second chance. Maybe second chance after he whacked you in the face. But yeah, you might. I mean, but you can't argue, right? He makes that team better. He makes that team go. And at this point, what are they in 12th spot, 11th spot? So what else? You're gonna have to roll with it and hope he can pull it back a little bit, and that he learns something that he's gonna get technicals given. Probably get kicked in a couple games given, but just don't let it happen in a crazy part, and don't let it happen in the playoffs. There you go.
Well, Mo, you were a physical player when you played in your day, and it was a much more physical league when you played. But even so, was there a code of conduct between the players that you knew? Okay, I'm not going to just intentionally try to hurt this guy on this layup and just take him out. I mean, what was it, and what do you think it is now?
Well, the game has changed. You can't be physical very much now. I mean, you think Draymond Green is more wacky than Dennis Rodman?
No.
Come on, man. But verbal stuff is different than physical stuff, and physical stuff is different than dirty stuff. When everyone knows, at least everybody used to know, and I think most people know, when you're playing at that level, that you don't want to do anything that will risk someone from losing their livelihood, because that affects them, their family, and their career. So, you don't low bridge them when they're going to the basket. You don't roll over on their knee. Stuff like that. You don't try to step under their foot. But let's face it, people did it, back then. And, Draymond's one of the guys that still does it now. Dylan Brooks does it, right? He does the same thing. And they're effective to it. Bill Laimbeer was one of the most effective guys ever at doing it, right? He won championships, getting in your mind physically and getting in your mind mentally. So, you got to be stronger than that. Not physically, some physically, but mentally. I mean, here's the other difference. Back in my day, in the 80s or whatever, guys sound like an old man, which I am. If someone was mouthing off like that, I'm gonna get them back. I'm gonna get them back. It's gonna be
Gonna get it, Mo.
It's gonna be a well placed elbow. It's gonna be a bone shattering pick. It's gonna be, hey, TC, Terry Cummings, we're going to run this play and run Draymond right off of me. Just run him hard off of me, and don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. I'm going to, maybe stick my knee out a little bit too much, or give him a little shoulder action, raise my hand. That's a foul. And you know what? That deterred a lot of that, because you knew it was going to happen. Rickey, you ain't going to talk so much crap if you know that I'm going to get you, or one of my teammates will get you sooner or later. It might be today, it might be later in the game, or it might be next week when we come into town. But, so what's your mentality? Well, maybe I'm not going to say so much anymore.
Well, when you said run him off of you, what do you mean by that?
That means, if you have the ball and I'm setting a pick, come really tight off me so I get a piece of him. Or, if I'm pinning down for you and you're coming off to get open to get the ball, come tight off of me, and then I'm going to be physical. I mean, one of one of my favorite picks was, if one of my guards was getting pressured all the way down the court, Sidney Moncrief or someone like that, I would get in the back court and set up really nice so Sidney can run the guy right off me. And if the guard didn't know it was coming because his teammate was way back there and didn't say anything, bam, he hit right into me and fell to the ground. It's a legal pick. I'm just standing there. So run him off me.
Talk about Terry Cummings' toughness. We've had 2 Terry Cummings references. We had one last week too, Mo. Glad to hear these questions. He was a great player.
Yeah, he was underestimated. He should be in the Hall of Fame for sure. Jack Sikma is my teammates. Sidney Moncrief is. Del Harris is my coach. Donnie Nelson is my coach. They're all in the Hall of Fame. Terry Cummings should be in the Hall of Fame. We'll get him on our show here shortly. That's a good idea. Um, Very talented from DePaul. Tough, physical, strong. Could get to the basket, pull up jump shot. More athletic than people thought. But I'll tell you, like when he came to Milwaukee, and you know, we'd be in practice and kind of going at each other and getting physical, and you know, he never, like I tell players, play through to the whistle. Don't stop playing because you think you got fouled. You know, just keep playing. And in practice, he told the coaches, don't ever blow your whistle. You know, even if Mo's killing me, because he would just, I'd hammer him, he'd miss it, go back up, get it, I'd hit him again, he'd get it and make it. And so in the
Yeah.
game, it was easy. It was easy. You know, he played through contact as good as anybody I know.
Hey, Mo, your old team, one of your old teams you work for, Charlotte Hornets, Mitch Kupchak, stepped down as GM today. Things just haven't gone well in Charlotte with that team. They are currently 11-41
Not as
on the
bad as
season.
Detroit, but around there.
We're gonna catch them. We're 8-44.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't gone right. They've had injuries. Made some trades, and the guys came. It's just been one thing after another. Michael Jordan sold the team, and Mitch Kupchak's been around a long time. He was a GM of the Lakers way back when. You know, I've known him forever. He's a friend of mine, but so I think I think he's older than me, so he's probably around 68, 69. So he's about ready to, he's moving up in an advisory position there. So, he's going to give somebody else a chance. Got a great career, though. Probably been a GM, 20 years maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think he was part of some of those championship teams that they put together out in LA too, Mo.
Yeah, and he was pretty much played most of his career on one knee. He blew out his knee early in his career, so he's playing on one knee. But he's a tough, hard-nosed player. But yeah, he's just moving up. I'll take that spot, please. Thank you. Being an advisor, I like being an advisor.
Hey man, you would do a lot better than some of these guys. I know one place you would for sure, which is about 20 minutes from my house. Uh, hey, Paul, the Timberwolves. I was saying, are they going to be able to stay in here? Stay in here? Yes, they are staying. They're 36-16, and excuse me, they have the number one defense in the league. The Knicks have the number two defense in the league. And a big reason for that is Rudy Gobert. And your old coaching buddy, Finch, has done a trip. He could be up for Coach of the Year, Mo.
Yeah, he's coaching the All-Star game. He's got the best record. He's coaching the All-Star game. Back in the day when I was his associate head coach in RGV in the G League, we coached in 2 G League All-Star games during the NBA All-Star weekend, and we won both of them. So I texted him congrats, and I said, we've never lost an All-Star game. You can't lose this one. We'll coach for the real All-Star game, but Chris knows what he's doing. I think remember they had a little brouhaha when Anthony Towns was trying to score 70, and
Yeah.
Chris reamed those
Ooh, he
guys.
lit him.
And guess what? Guess what? Now they're playing better, right? So
He
that
lit them up, man.
that means they respect him. And I've told you all the time in the NBA and most pro sports, the players have to let you coach them because they don't have to. They can be jerks, and so they respect Chris. He's one of the most brilliant minds I've been around. And now you got Anthony Edwards, one of the most dynamic face of the league guys, that played great in the World Cup, and now he's playing great, averaging 26 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. Then you got Anthony Towns, who, is averaging 23 and 8, and can shoot threes and very talented. And you put Gobert around him, that's a rim protector rebounder. He's averaging only 14 points only and 13 rebounds and about 3 blocks a game. He's a rim protector at 7'1" and long. And then you got Conley, who's a veteran point guard running the show. And you got a bunch of other guys that are playing their roles. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys averaging double figures. So you got that's the makings of a team that can make a run. They're not as talented as the Lakers. They're not as talented as the Clippers. Maybe not as talented as the Suns. Maybe Denver, but they with the combination they have, they can make a nice run.
And they got the size to deal with the Joker.
Yep, they have 2 7-footers, in Towns and Gobert, and that's what really hurt. Miami was a surprise last year to get to the finals, but in the long run, they gave him a little battle, but they didn't have any size. Joker did whatever he wanted. He looked like me playing in the front yard against my kids when they were grade school. You can't touch this. So you have to have some size. That's why I'm surprised the Warriors didn't get size. Dallas doesn't have the size. The Lakers have the size. The Clippers have the size, and Minnesota has the size. OKC doesn't have the size either. So,
Hey, Paul, we just got a couple of minutes left. The Sixers, they're 2-8 in their last 10. They've fallen from the second spot down to the 5th spot, and they're only 3 games ahead of Orlando for the 6th spot. Are they just just hold on to the big fella gets back?
Yeah, I think so. And what tells me that is at the trade deadline, instead of trying to find a Drummond or someone to make a trade to get us some size, instead of that, they went and got Buddy Hield, a scoring guard. So that tells me, okay, we're going to just hold the fort. We're going to play a different way. You got Maxey, great player, Tobias Harris, Milton. Then you got Oubre and you got Hield. I mean, now you're not really the team you were without Embiid. And so you didn't make any adjustment to try and get somebody like him. You can't get an Embiid out there, but you can get a 7-footer that's serviceable. So, I think I wouldn't. They're talking about, cartilage and, 4 weeks. And that's not realistic for a 7-foot, 280-pound guy. You're talking about 8 weeks at minimum. So they might have pulled the plug, with that.
Wow, and the year started so great for the 76ers. Mo, we got to get out of here, man. I want to thank our friends at Sports Fluent. I want to thank our viewers all over the Sports Fluent Network. We are here every Monday. Milwaukee Bucks legend Paul Mokeski. I'm Rickey Hampton.
Go Chiefs.
And congratulations to the Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
Hey, we'll see you all next Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. From Paul Mokeski, I'm Rick Hampton. Peace, everybody.
Peace out. Go Chiefs. Peace.